Alright, here we are. Best of three between the Princeton High Tigers and East Chapel Hill High School. We are back for some High School Star League Winter Season 2016 playoffs. We get right on into this draft. We take a look at the Princeton High Tigers. They've banned out the Warlock, Invoker, PA, and Timbersaw. While ECHHS, or East Chapel Hill, they've banned out Shadow Demon, Naga, Centaur Warrunner, and Lifestealer. So, PHS, they've picked up Ogre Magi and Sand King. And then, East Chapel Hill, they've picked up Nyx Assassin, Undying, and Juggernaut. Nyx Assassin and Undying, two heroes that they've picked up pretty often. Undying, he's been picked up 3 times over the season for the side of ECH, and they've won 2 out of the 3 games, so it's a pick they feel comfortable with. For the side of Princeton High Tigers, they've got the Ogre Magi, they've got the Sand King. Sand King they might run in off-lane role, or in the off-lane role, probably in that position 3. Get some levels in that Caustic Finale with Burrow Strike. And then for the side of East Chapel Hill, they've got the Nyx, Undying, and Juggernaut. We'll have to see if that Nyx is roaming and if that Jug is going to be in the carry role in that safe lane. So, Princeton High, they pick up the Rubik. So, Rubik, Ogre Magi are your 2 supports. Quite a bit of lockdown for the side of the Tigers. Meanwhile, East Chapel Hill, they've got the Stun of Nyx, and that's really about it. They've got the slow from Tombstone. Maybe they can work with that. But their next 2 picks really do need a bit more lockdown. Maybe they throw Juggernaut into that mid-roll and pick up something like a Sven where they can blink Stormhammer onto the side of Princeton High. So this is a best of 3. Game 1 right now. Between 2 pretty evenly matched teams. So Disruptor gets picked up for East Chapel Hill. They've got the Disruptor and the Undying as your supports. Nyx probably rolling in that off lane. Jug, he could still be mid, probably in that safe lane, in that carry 1 role. And then we take a look at Princeton High. Again, they still have the Rubik Ogre Magi support duo, which will probably roll in an aggressive tri-lane role. Ogre Magi and Rubik, it's a lot of lockdown and a lot of harass that they can use to now get this Ursa some farm. So, Ursa gets picked up by the Tigers, and it's a pretty solid pick, but with the team that East Chapel Hill have already, they can kite this Ursa pretty well. Glimpse, Kinetic Field, Tombstone's going to make it hard for the Ursa to come in, as well as the Nyx. He's got that stun, he's got that mana burn, and it's really not something you want to deal with if you're an Ursa. So this Ursa into the side of East Chapel Hill, to me, doesn't look all too great, but they still have 1 more pick to work with. They still need to get their mid-hero, as well as most likely East Chapel Hill needs to as well. And we'll see what they want to roll with for both sides. I was going to say could see a Timbersaw, but that got banned out. That was a pretty popular pick in this league. Alchemist gets banned out by East Chapel Hill. That's a popular pick in the mid lane. We could see something like a Razor come out. Static Link Ursa wouldn't be too bad. And then maybe we see, I wouldn't say a Quap's a good pick here. Windrunner is okay. We've seen it a couple times. But trying to think what works with both these teams and who's really going to be in that mid lane role. So, could Invoker banned, Timbersaw banned, Alchemist banned out. You try to think, what can you do? Now Mirana's banned out. Could go TA. Wouldn't be bad for either of these teams. A little bit of mobility, armor reduction, and a hard hitter. Just kind of struggles a bit early on in a lane, so we'll see if they do want to go with the TA. I still like Razor. It's a pretty solid pick. I'm not too sure I like this sniper. Sniper into a Nyx Assassin isn't always great. Shrapnel with the Spike Carapace is going to make it hard for the Sniper to really do much. And once Nyx gets that Vendetta, can really come around on a Sniper and make his day very difficult. So now you're up against the Sniper, East Chapel Hill. You need something to work with that can kind of get into the face of a Sniper. Storm Spirit wouldn't be too bad. Ember Spirit wouldn't be the worst. Especially with the heroes you have as a support. In the supporting role, Undying Disruptor, someone who can get into the face of the Sniper, Glimpse, Kinetic Field, Storm Spirit, Razor are 2 heroes that could do pretty well against Sniper. So, Sniper, Ursa, Rubik, Sand King, Ogre, Magi for the Princeton High Tigers. East Chapel Hill, they're waiting on this last pick, 12 seconds to go. Coming down to the wire on this last one. I'm saying Razor. I'm saying Storm. And I'll say Ember. And I'll be wrong. With all 3 of those picks, they go with Morphling. Kind of makes me think Juggernaut's going to be playing in that mid lane. Have to see. And if we disconnect here. Usually is tradition. Still can't figure out why that happens every single time. But it happens. Something we kind of have to deal with. And by we, I mean me. We're right back in anyway, so we've got Jason on the Undying Fuzzy Bunny with the Disruptor. Rocket is going to be on the Nyx Fisher Swamp with the Juggernaut and Gigan with the Morphling. We took a look at the other side. Princeton High Tigers S-Max is going to be on that. Ursa, Ogre Magi with Big... is going to be played by Big Boy. I like Plat Rubik, Kid Papu with the Sniper, and then Cafe on the Sand King. So just a moment till we're ready to go. Getting a little bit of lag are the players, and we see a little bit of writing on the board already, and it looks as though maybe East Chapel Hill, they'll be looking for that smoke and long gank on that top bounty rune or that long initiation. So we should be ready to go. We take a look at both these teams, where they're going to be at. Ursa going to be in that carry 1 role, probably in the safe lane, tri-lane with Ogre Magi and Rubik. Morphling with an Undying and a Disruptor should be okay to farm that safe lane. Juggernaut in the mid lane, and of course Rocket in the off lane with that Nyx. And once really Rocket gets that level 6, he'll be roaming around and could help out Fisher Swamp in the mid lane if he does choose to go that way with this Juggernaut. And it could be the early game that they need to surpass the Tigers. They've got some early output with the Ursa, with the Sniper, and the Sand King possible. And we'll see what they do. East Chapel Hill, they don't actually go up and around. No smoke coming out from them. Maybe they've decided otherwise. They do show themselves on the top bounty rune, and that is going to send Sniper still here. Kid Papu is just going to stay nearby. Maybe they're looking to fight. They do know they have a little bit of power coming into this fight. The Ursa can do pretty well. But now East Chapel Hill, they've spread out, and Gigan's going to go down low, as well as Fisher Swamp and Fuzzy Bunny. So they'll look to grab this bottom bounty rune. They abandon the top bounty rune. 4 are here for the Tigers. And we take a look up top. A deep ward is placed to block this camp. Block that pole camp. Don't want the lane really pulling back towards their tower. Make it a little bit harder for S-Max to find his farm. And things should be looking pretty good for them. They do have 2 sentry wards on the Ogre Magi, which probably be for the Nyx once he hits 6. I don't think they're going to scout out this ward. There's a ward here on the top bounty rune by the Tigers, and that is about it with this ward down low. So we take a look at the lanes and how they've really formed. It's Jason on the Undying. He is going to come into this off lane. He has the decay, make it S-Max have a harder time. He's actually an aggressive off lane. Rocket, or no, sorry. It is just a dual lane. Rocket's going to be here as well on the Nyx. It's an aggressive tri-lane for the Tigers. That's what I was getting at. So they're going to try and push out this Nyx, push out the Undying, but it's going to be a tough task. Meanwhile, down low, Cafe gets pretty low. The Thunder Strike is going to end. He'll salve up and be okay. He'll get back into lane. But he's up against Fisher Swamp on this Juggernaut, and it's going to be the Morphling who's taking the mid lane, who's going to already use that salve up against Kid Papu on the Sniper. So it's going to be a hard lane for Morphling. Sniper is going to make it really tough for Gigan to get in there, get some farm. But once Gigan gets a couple of levels, probably around 4 or 5, he can kind of go in on Kid Papu, especially if the rotation comes over. For the side of the Tigers, they've got Ursa up top. They can chain stun a couple of these heroes, maybe make it easier for S-Max. They do get the telekinesis out, pull back Rocket. Now the Ignite, a couple more shots should make Rocket go down. He gets the stun out on Ogre Magi, but with that, he'll be giving up his life to S-Max. That's first blood the way of the Tigers. So Big Boy chose to go with the Ignite instead of the Fire Blast. Not a bad choice. Get that slow, make it easier for this Ursa to grab first blood, and he does do so and grabs himself about 33 gold with a bit of first blood. Gold advantage going his way as well. So we take a look down low. Burrow Strike doing a lot of damage. There's double damage on Cafe. One more shot would bring down Fuzzy Bunny. But he does walk away, gets the kinetic field down, and Fisher Swamp was there to help out just in case. So Gigan trying to move up on Kid Papu, and Gigan's in a bit of trouble. He's only got 181 life left, level 4. Kid Papu, he's underleveled. He's a little bit lower, and he's actually going to try and go for this kill. The Fairy Fire eaten by Gigan. He's trying to man-fight Kid Papu. He's morphing that strength, but hitting even less as he does do so. And now he will go down, and Kid Papu will get a solo kill on that Morphling. So tries to get into the face of Kid Papu on this Sniper, morphing strength, trying to stay alive. But it's really not going to work out for him. And now the stun does hit on Ursa. S-Max in a little bit of trouble. The Decay came out on 2. Rocket hit the stun. But other than that, the Undying had to back off, salve up, reset. So take a look at the last hits. It's Fisher Swamp at 20 and 10. He leads it up 5 on this Ursa in the top lane. S-Max is having a little bit of trouble, but he does have the first blood kill and a kill under his belt. So he is ahead of that Juggernaut. About 4 minutes in, but not by much. Take a look at this offlane Cafe. He's 1-0, really having a tough time. And he's only level 2. He really needs to find himself maybe another level. Maybe he'll look to jungle afterwards. And he does not get that stack. So just grab a bounty at 525 gold. We'll see if he goes for an Iron Talon next. I really doubt it. We'll see if he does head towards the jungle once he hits level 3. So things have kind of slowed down on the edges. Big Boy, he's got Bloodlust for S-Max if they want to choose to go in on this Nyx. Nyx not level 6 just yet, only level 3. And he's not exactly having the best time. He has to sit very far away from the creep wave just to make sure he stays alive while he's Undying. He's coming back after denying himself to neutral, so they move up a little bit further. There's the decay on S-Max, but nothing more. Just a little bit of harass coming out onto that Ursa. They really don't want him to sit and get free farm. Jason, Rocket F20 coming around the bend. Big Boy, and I like Platt. That smoke's going to get spotted. Looked like they were going to smoke to head towards mid, but it gets spotted immediately. So another decay comes out. It's pretty quiet this game, and the farm, it benefits East Chapel Hill. They don't want Ursa to get too much, but early Juggernaut with a Yasha is pretty sweet. And they'll take that farm on the Juggernaut, as well as the Morphling, who's now moved his way into the jungle. And we do see Cafe, who's made his way over into the jungle, but chooses to not go Sandstorm. Does pick up the Iron Talon. And it's an interesting build.
Dire's bottom tower needs some help.
So 3 up top for the Tigers. Coming around the bend is I Like Platt. We'll see if he does go in with Big Boy. They're trying to find someone out. They do get the Earth Shock out on the Undying with the Telekinesis. Fade Bolt hits. Here comes the Tombstone. Maybe they want to turn this around. The Fire Blast hits onto the Undying. He will be the first to fall. Rocket F20 does get out with the Kinetic Field coming in from the Disruptor. And they'll only take 1 on the side of the Tigers. So Telekinesis, Fade Bolt. It was enough to bring down the Undying, and S-Max, he's got himself an assist and continues to farm up well, has those phase boots early on. Take a look over mid. Gigan in a bit of trouble once again. Kid Papu, he's got the assassination if he wants to use it, trying to morph strength just to get away. Waveform is up, and now morphing a lot of strength. That's really not going to do much. Kid Papu coming over with haste, still hitting up on Gigan, still just continuing to harass him. He's really got nowhere to go while he continues to morph strength. Has 1,900 total life, but only 300 at the moment. Now they'll glimpse the sniper back, and Fuzzy Bunny will save Gigan, but it's a lot of time to push back Gigan, and he's not getting any farm or really anything of benefit as Kid Papu really harassed him, not only out of a lane, but all the way back to base. So, take a look down low. Cafe eating that Blade Fury for now. Fisher Swamp, he's under tower, has the Omni Slash. Burrow Swamp not too far away. There's no creeps around, so Cafe might be in a little bit of trouble if he does go for the Omni Slash. Maybe they're looking for the rotations, but none will come, and Sand King will die, as Fisher Swamp does have the Omni Slash and will use it on the solo Sand King. We take a look up top. Wave is pushing into this top tier 1. I Like Platt as well as S-Max are here, and Big Boy's coming around the bend. Take a look back mid. Gigan, he's level 7, so they're both equal in level. So we'll switch this over at the 8-minute mark to the net worth. We do see Fisher Swamp at top of the net worth lead. Then the Ursa Sniper, Morphling. And Morphling, he's behind 500 gold on Kid Papu. He really needs to find himself a kill. There's the Kinetic Field with the Thunderstrike. Fairy Fire eaten, but it will be Gigan with the kill. So Fuzzy Bunny's still here. Big Boy making his way over, trying to body block and glimpses back Big Boy. And there will be no trouble for Gigan. So pretty solid work by Fuzzy Bunny, getting his Morphling a kill on the Sniper, which was desperately needed, and now pushes him forward on the net worth, now 3rd. But Ursa has taken the top spot, has that Morbid Mask and Phase Boots with 1,000 gold saved up. We'll see if he goes for that Blink next. Probably find some mobility and a couple of kills with the lineup he has supporting him. So with Kid Papu going down, he's level 8, but Gigan, he's making his presence felt almost a level 9, and the Sniper's going to have to watch out. Can't get too comfortable in that mid lane. So the farming continues. Fisher Swamp, he's over here trying to grab that Yasha. He's got himself the Band of Elven Skin, almost at 1,000 gold, trying to finish off that Yasha, about 1,500 away.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Or not 1,500 away, about 500 away. So we take a look. Net worth, it's still leading with the Ursa. He's got himself still the same items, 1,600 gold saved up. Juggernaut, we're back down him, and back down to him. He's still looking for that Yasha. While Morphling, he's got himself those treads finished up, has about 1,000 gold, now picks up a haste, so Tigers have to be careful. In this mid lane, Kid Papu, if he gets too far out, might be in a little bit of trouble. Big Boy is there, but I'm not too certain how much he can do. They're actually going to move up top. Just the ward for the time being. Really not a lot of aggression, just a lot of farming coming out. But Fisher Swamp, he's making his way over with Jason. See if they do go for this Ursa, but S-Max is going to be sitting under tower. Kind of just sitting back. He really doesn't want to get picked off. He wants to continue to farm. He knows he needs a little bit of mobility with that Blink Dagger to start doing some things. And now Gigan might be in a little bit of trouble. He's got that haste. Should be able to just run out. He did get hit by that Assassinate. We heard it on the map. Now coming in with the waveform. Picks up the bounty as two are just looking at it on the side of Tigers. Wow. That is a cheeky play by Gigan. Meanwhile, up top, they're looking to grab this tier 1, pushing everybody out. Here comes the TP in by Big Boy. He's all alone, not too sure you want to make that move. He gets the Fire Blast off on Fisher Swamp. Coming around the back end is S-Max. Now all the rotations come out. Omni Slash thrown on Big Boy. He's going to survive with just 18 health. He's running away. Ursa, he's going to bring down Fisher Swamp. It's actually going to be Rubik. With the Fade Bolt, we take a look at the other end. Now Jason in a bit of trouble. He gets stunned up by Cafe. Trying to turn this around. They've already brought down the Juggernaut for our here. Jason, you are in a whole bunch of trouble. Telekinesis up. Getting hit by Kid Papu with the Burrow Strike. Sand King will place the final blow out on the Undying. So it's a 2-0. Looked like they were going to grab Big Boy with that Omni Slash. He survives with 18 health. Walks his way back to base. And in fact, Tigers, they turn around. Make it a 2-0.
Radiant's top tower has looked better.
So back with the Vendetta is Nyx, trying to stop this tier 1 from getting taken. There are 4 around town. And not really a sentry nearby, so he should be okay if the rotations come out. Gigan's going to get hit by that Burrow Strike. Coming in is S-Max. He's really hitting down on Gigan. He's going to have that waveform through. Assassinate going to get canceled. Here comes the Adaptive Strike on S-Max. There's the Static Storm with the Kinetic Field. Going to lock down S-Max. He's going to be in a bit of trouble. He'll be the first to fall on the side of the Tigers. Here comes the Glimpse back as well as the stun hitting onto the Sand King. And we get a pause as Undying is going to stop this game for just a moment. So, parents, all about the pauses now. They walk away from Cafe, who's trying to TP out. Not too sure they have a stop, but with that Adaptive Strike, again, they will stop the TP. Waveform comes in, and Gigan gets the kill. So with that, it's a 2-0 of their own. And a lot of gold going the way of the Morphling, which is what they need. They want Gigan to get himself that Dragonlance Lincoln Sphere and be on the move. The later this game goes, the more beneficial it is for East Chapel Hill. And at 13 minutes in, they're starting to hit that mid-game, and they're liking where they're at. Fisher Swamp, he's picked up that Yasha, continuing to farm. We'll see if he goes straight for the Mana Style or if he goes into something else. And for the Tigers, Ursa himself a couple of kills, does have that Blink Dagger. And then for this Sniper, he looks like he's looking into a Dragonlance next. So we take a look at the net worth graph, 1,500 in favor of East Chapel Hill. Not a huge lead, but it's a lead where they like where they're at. They have the lead. They'll enjoy it. They want to get into the late game. Waveform, Glimpse, Kinetic Field. They'll bring down Kid Papu. There's the double stun from Cafe. They're hitting down on Jason. Tombstones drop, and they will bring down the Undying. Fisher Swamp, he's under tower, in a bit of trouble. There's the Ignite. S-Max, he does have Blink Dagger in 3, trying to find something on Fisher Swamp, but he gets stopped with the double stun. Kinetic Field, Static Storm, they're in a bit of trouble. And now here comes Gigan to try and clean up S-Max, but it's not going to be enough as the Fire Blast hits from Big Boy. Waveform forward, still trying to bring down S-Max, and will. But now Gigan in a bit of trouble. Waveform is stolen by the Rubik. Eye Quack comes in. But now Gigan is morphing strength. He's staying alive for a little bit longer. And there's the Spike Carapace. Cafe's going to go down to Gigan, who's now got himself a double kill. Big Boy, he's trying to run away, but the Kinetic Field not in time, as he will be able to take him and his other head back to base.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So we take a look at the fight recap. 3 go down on the side of Tigers. And then for East Chapel Hill, they just lose that Undying, but they grab themselves the Sniper and the Ursa, 2 high-priority targets for the side of East Chapel Hill. And it's starting to look very good for them, and now that net worth differential is hitting about 3,000. So So 3 in the mid lane for the Tigers. Maybe looking to make something happen. Level 7 Sand King. He's neglected to get that epicenter, which I've kind of been expecting in these fights. Probably would have turned it all around. Coming around the bend is Gigan. Has that Dragon Lance. Maybe looking to waveform Adaptive Strike in on Kid Papu. Could be a kill if they do so. But he'll just back off and start to head up top. There's still 3 around in this mid lane. They do see that Rocket F20 is there with the Sentry Ward in the mid lane. They'll be okay. Meanwhile, down low, Fuzzy Bunny's trying to find himself some farm. He's been doing pretty well with those Static Storm kinetic fields, stopping the Tigers from really retreating out. And that's kind of been the downfall of the Tigers. They get kited up, and that's what I was saying. This Ursa finds himself just looking for a target and really can't find any. And he can't get out with the glimpse, with the kinetic field, and the static storm coming his way. Jason, he might be a little bit too far out. Ursa could go in and just bring him down immediately. There's the glimpse back. Jason gonna stay alive for a little bit longer. Soul Rip gonna keep him alive for just a split second longer as the Assassinate comes in and kills him. Meanwhile, Gigan, he's actually got himself a mega kill streak on the back end waveform to the high ground. S-Max, they're trying to lock him down. Gigan still running away. S-Max right behind him. Waveform into the Roche pit. Burrow Strike not going to hit. Now they look to turn it around as East Chapel Hill, they're all here. Static Storm gets placed. S-Max with the Earth Shock. And now going to get glimpsed back. Gigan really not in that much of a trouble. Assassinate comes out on Fuzzy Bunny once again, but he'll just TP back to base. And it is a very sloppy reinitiate from the PHS Tigers. Gigan still continuing to move. Burrow Strike. Gigan still in trouble. Trying maybe to find a waveform. And then they bring down 2. Just like that. Didn't look like the Tigers were really going to get much. But they lose both their cores. And with that, that should be an easy Roche for Tigers. I thought maybe this Morphling was going to be alright, but nobody really came out to help except for the Juggernaut, and even then, he couldn't do too much with no Omni Slash.
Dyer's middle tower isn't going to last long.
So Roche gets taken
Haven't seen the last of him.
pretty quickly, and the Aegis will be out on Ursa. We take a look. 4,000 was for East Chapel Hill, and now it's down to about 2,000 as they're starting to climb their way back into this game with the Ursa, who's now got that Aegis and 1,600 gold saved up. Take a look over at the Sniper. He's got himself the Diffusal Blade, looking for what looks like a Force Staff, going to turn that into a Hurricane Pike.
Tower shouldn't have to take this abuse.
I'm not too sure that's going to help with waveform coming in from a Morphling. They can close the distance even after a Hurricane Pike is used.
Where did Radiant's middle tower go?
So they grabbed this tier 1 mid with ease, but it didn't look as though East Chapel Hill were really looking to stop it. They're just trying to farm up, find their next power spike, and from there take on the Tigers. But Tigers, they don't want to wait. They want to continue to push. They're looking for another tower, have this tier 2 to about half health. I have to see if maybe East Chapel Hill want to turn it around. Meanwhile, down low, Cafe might be in a little bit of trouble. There's the mana burn, but he's going to use that wand. Get himself a little bit more mana if he needs to Burrow Strike further away from Gigan and Rocket F20. Meanwhile, mid, tier 2 does go down, so
Tower has fallen.
Tigers, they grab 2 cores, go to Roche, grab that, and then get 2 towers. It's pretty solid gain for him. Jason and Fisher Swamp will TP out as they do see the entire side of Tigers come up top. So the farming continues for East Chapel Hill. They don't really want to deal with the Tigers at the moment. Nick's about 5,000 net worth, has that Midas. Probably going to look for an Ags. And we take a look over at the Morphling, who's looking for that Lincoln Sphere, just a little bit away from it. And then Chug, who's got himself that Manta style, and I think something coming on the Courier. Or not, just Fuzzy Bunny going for the Force Staff.
Someone better help Dyer's middle tower.
So, things get a little quiet once again. Ursa's got himself that basher, so could start to do a lot of work towards East Chapel Hill. Excuse me. And he's coming around the back and a walk right into Gigan. And Gigan, he's going to meet with S-Max, gets bashed up, and here comes the Assassinate with a glimpse back on S-Max, but he's morphed enough strength to get out of there and uses his ult to move back up top. And almost at him. Just a second more and he would have been dead. So Morphe's got to continue to farm. He's second on that net worth. Needs a little bit more to be effective in killing the side of the Tigers. We take a look at Jug. He's top of the net worth, 9,100. But he has died 2 times. Hopefully he can cut that down and continue to grab himself some of his next tier items to kind of push forward on Tigers, but they're going to make it really hard. The Hurricane Pike finished on Kid Papu. S-Max has that basher. We'll see if he goes straight Abyssal or if he goes for something else beforehand.
Not much good is happening to Radiant's bottom tower. Radiant structures have been snow fortified. Are those cracks in Dyer's top tower?
So they'll push this bottom tier 1. Meanwhile, they're going to work on the tier 2 up top for the side of East Chapel Hill. Tier 2 for a tier 1 is not a bad trade, but maybe they're going to get this tier 1 and then rotate up top. So here comes the rotations. 4 have made their way up top. But they won't find anybody as they all retreat for the side of East Chapel Hill. So now Blink Dagger comes out for Sand King. Cafe finally picks up the Epicenter level 10. Level 2 at least. We'll see if it's a bit more effective for the side of the Tigers in these team fights. Aegis has expired on the Ursa, so now East Chapel Hill, they probably know this and might be looking for a fight if they feel comfortable enough, but last fight didn't go too well afterwards as they lost both the Morphling and the Jug. They can't let that happen again. So they might want to farm a little bit more, get their next items, and then look for a fight. Especially looking for that Morphling to grab his Lincolns fully finished, and it is coming his way. So with the Lincolns, they might look to move in.
Just as much help as bottom.
Gonna be
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
So now they go for the top tier 1. Should be an easy tower. No rotation's going to come out from the side of East Chapel Hill. And with that, they're going to send Kid Papu mid. Maybe just to harass Gigan, who will just use his ult. Head back into the jungle. So Diffusal Blade finished for the Juggernaut fully. With that and the Lincolns, hopefully we'll see East Chapel Hill start to maybe look to fight. Of course, the farming game does favor them, but Sniper's getting a lot of farm too, and as well as this Ursa, it could be trouble if they don't take the right team fight. Ogre Club picked up for the Ursa. See if he turns that into a BKB. Meanwhile, up top, Gigan just gonna push this wave, farm a little bit more. Has 2,000 gold already. He's farming very well at 5-2 and 2, 157 and 5. He's actually going to move forward on Kid Papu. This might have been a mistake as he is out of mana. Now Cafe is here. They pop the Lincolns. There's the stun. Telekinesis holding him still. He has no more mana for a waveform out, and he will go down. So the entire side of Tigers are here, and they will kill off this Morphling. So 10-9, and that net worth 4,000 in favor of East Chapel Hill, but in terms of strength, it looks like maybe the Tigers have the advantage. So Ags, 800 gold away is Nyx. Should do his team really well, or do his team good, especially if Tigers do start a high ground siege. So S-Max saving up some more gold, 1,800. We'll see if that's going to be used towards getting himself that BKB or if he's going to go for something else. So Blade is always a possibility. We will have to keep an eye on him. Morphling going for the E-Blade and Fisher Swamp. He's got 1,700 gold, Manta Style, Diffusal Blade, Phase Boots. Just about level 15, looking for 16 with the third level of Omni Slash. There it is. Mithril Hammer. And for here, I kind of expect a smoke. There it is on the courier, and here they go. If they just head bottom, they should find a couple. They actually turn their attention towards mid, going the opposite way of where ECH are. Fisher Swamp, he's going to break the smoke, coming over with the blink. Blade Fury in time from Fisher Swamp. Trying to find an escape, uses that Manta, hit by the Burrow Strike, Fire Blast, here comes the Tombstone. Fisher Swamp in trouble, but he gets the Omni Slash off in time. Decay comes out on 4. Static Storm is down. They've brought down the Juggernaut. S-Max trying to run away. Thunderstrike is going to be on him, but not going to be enough. Now Sniper trying to find himself a couple more kills. There's the Assassinate, going to bring down a third for the side of East Chapel Hill, but it's a 3-for-3 trade. It's a double kill for Kid Papu, and a kill for Morphling, and a bit more. So 3-for-3, Nyx Disruptor, Juggernaut going to go down for East Chapel Hill. 3 on the side of Tigers will fall. That's Rubik, Sand King, and Ogre Magi. So all in all, it is a beneficial fight for East Chapel Hill. Meanwhile, Sniper, he might be a little bit too far out. Maelstrom does hit Gigan. He'll take the harass. There's the adaptive strike. Starting to hit away. Kid Papu. Not too sure it's going to be enough. Now he pops the Lincolns, but it will be the Shadow Blade used by Kid Papu and the ulti used by Morphling to get out. Meanwhile, Undying's just going to fall. And see that's starting to happen. So they look towards their second Roche. And it should be easy, non-contested. They don't have the ability to contest on the side of East Chapel Hill. When we take a look at the net worth, starting to dip down towards even. Aegis is picked up by Ursa once again. And East Chapel Hill, they give up that Undying easily to Sniper, who's got himself that Shadow Blade Maelstrom Hurricane Pike combo. It's becoming a scary Sniper who was just picking off the weaklings in that last fight. For the Nyx, he's picked up the Ags. Maybe he's going to want to go for that Aether Lens next. And now Basher is what comes out for the Juggernaut. Maybe he goes for Abyssal Blade and finishes it off first. Meanwhile, BKB fully finished on S-Max as they start to siege this Tier 2 bottom. So they know it's coming. They know they're trying for that tier 2, and Fisher Swamp, he'll push mid while Gigan will push top. So they're going to try and counter push. Not too sure it's going to be enough. Fuzzy Bunny glimpse back. S-Max stuck in the kinetic field. Still has that Aegis. There's the TP up to mid. From the side of the Tigers, they will push back Fisher Swamp, who will have his illusions continue to just harass that mid tower and be taken out by the sniper. So, Big Boy gonna get glimpsed back, stuns up Gigan, but he'll die to Undying. Easy kill. So, Morphling looking to finish off that E-Blade, a little far away from it. Meanwhile, Sniper picks up the Mjolnir in full. As he is becoming a scary man, top of the net worth at just about 16,000. So, E-Blade finished by Gigan. Looking towards that shotgun build.
Dyer's bottom tower is under attack.
So Gigan gonna start harassing this tier 3. Goes in with the E-Blade and the adaptive strike. Kid Papu is very low. But Morphling, he's just going to shotgun and back out with that ulti. I thought maybe he could go for that kill. Doesn't want to get a bit too cocky. There is the scan. Going to hit Cafe, who's trying to find himself a bit more farm. Blink and Yules. Here comes Gigan with the E-Blade Burrow Strike. Not going to do enough. And now there's another stun from Rocket F20, and he will get the kill on Sand King. So now with that kill, Gigan, he's going to look to push this tier 2 top. Protected by backdoor. Coming over is I Like Plaid as well as Kid Papu. All 5 are up top from East Chapel Hill. They're without their Sand King on the side of the PHS Tigers. Gigan gonna move forward, grab the tower, and replicate mid. So no fight. Little Blade Fury stolen by like Platt. And they're starting to roam as 5. They're looking to take a fight and look for that first high ground siege for the side of Princeton High Tigers. Like I said, late game, it kind of favors the side of East Chapel Hill. And the Tigers, they like the farm, but they're becoming complacent with how much farm East Chapel Hill is getting. There's the mana burn. Stun comes out, hits on 2. They're trying to turn around. Burrow Strike hits on the Nyx. S-Max is here. They're trying to bring down Rocket F20. He's getting pretty low. There's the Assassinate coming through. He'll be the first to fall. Meanwhile, they've lost the Ursa. So the Omni Slash did its job. Blade Fury from I Like Platt. Gigan getting a little bit low, but 2 have fallen on the side of PHS Tigers. They're hitting away at Gigan. Waveform forward. Gonna hit on 2. Double kill for Kid Papu thus far. Assassinate thrown forward on Gigan. Not going to be enough. Bash from Fisher Swamp, but still not going to get the kill as Kid Papu gets 3. So a 3-for-2 trade, very much favoring the Tigers. They're not going to look to take the tower off this, as they'll just back off and maybe look to push somewhere else. Still are yet to see an epicenter. We'll see one eventually. Soon will be the time. Juggernaut, he is just not surviving these fights. Maybe we see him pick up something like a heart. But he is going to try and finish that. Abyssal Blade in the Vanguard should do him pretty solidly in this next fight. So there comes S-Max. Gigan might be in a little bit of trouble, but he'll just replicate up top. And all will be okay. Both teams back to just pushing, farming a little bit. Still no Abyssal Blade for this Ursa. Thought he might pick up one by now, and now they're looking to maybe try and take this tier 3 mid. They'll hit away at these creeps. Kid Papu from a distance. Rocket F20 gonna move back. Made the mistake last time, being a little bit too far forward. Meanwhile, up top, Gigan, he's trying to push a tier 3 of his own. All 5 are here from the side of PHS Tigers. They use the Static Storm. Not going to be enough. The Omni Slash is going to be used. It's pushing him all the way back. No kills just yet. Burrow Strike not going to work. Blade Fury stolen by Alec Platt. Now we see Gigan go in. E-Blade Adaptive Strike. Lincoln's going to get popped. He'll take down one. That's Rubik falling first. S-Max hitting away at Gigan. Gigan might be in a little bit of trouble. He's trying to get himself out. He'll replicate back a little bit more, but there's the epicenter. 2 are dead on the side of East Chapel Hill. They've brought down a 3rd. That's going to be the Juggernaut going down. Rocket F20. He's going to be in a little bit of trouble. He'll be the 4th to fall. So the buybacks come out from Nyx and Morphling. They've taken the tier 3 in the mid lane. S-Max continuing to move forward. He's going to try and take himself a set of racks. There's the E-Blade pop with the stun. Ursa goes down. Glimpse back on Big Boy, and he'll be the next victim of Gigan with that double kill.
Radiant's bottom tower's got problems.
So it was 3 for 4 with 2 buybacks coming out from East Chapel Hill. They really need to make these buybacks worth it. They got 2 kills, but at that, it's not really enough. They need to find maybe a tower, and the tower mid is what they need to get at least. Gigan's trying to push bottom. He's got himself that E-Blade Dragonlance, now a Yasha. And again, this Juggernaut, he is just not surviving. The Omni Slash pulled him way back into the fight. It just did not work out for him. They see that Roche is up. Maybe they look to wait for the Tigers to come in on it. Maybe they go for it on their own, and they will do so. Coming around the bend is the Tigers. They will spot it out with the Shrapnel. Getting bashed up is Gigan. Rocket F20 is nearby. Shadow Blade is used by Kid Papu. They use the Tombstone. Now here comes the Burrow Strike out on the Juggernaut. He's getting hit up by S-Max. Glimpse back. And he should be all right. Waveform forward with the E-Blade trying to bring down I Like Platt. But Gigan, he's all by his lonesome. The rest of his team's coming in, but it's not enough as he's down for 105 seconds. Here comes the epicenter. That'll bring down 2. Cafe's on a killing spree. 3 are dead on the side of East Chapel Hill. Fisher Swamp, he might be next, and he will be, as it's a triple kill for Kid Papu. Oh, they're going to dust up this Nyx. They know he's there. It's an ultra kill for Kid Papu. And everybody dies on the side of East Chapel Hill.
Radiant's top tower has looked better.
Whew. Not the fight that East Chapel Hill was looking for. Gigan, he came out of the Roche pit, high ground with that waveform. And it was just the wrong move. Put him all by his lonesome up top, and the rest of his team had to come in, who got Sequentially hit by Burrow's strike as well as the epicenter.
Radiant's top tower is falling to the dead.
So Aegis and Cheese. This time Cafe's going to pick up the Aegis as Ursa is not here. And Cheese will be eaten by Kid Papu. So they'll look to high ground again. They took the tier 3. They're going to be looking for their first set of racks. As the full Abyssal Blade is finished on Fisher Swamp, and maybe that's what he needs to start getting the kills on the side of the Tigers. He's missing out by a little bit of damage, and maybe the extra lockdown from the Abyssal Blade will be enough. But Tigers, with that full team wipe on East Chapel Hill, they've taken what is their second lead of the game and their first over 1K lead of the game. They got to be real careful, and that is the Nyx getting hit up by the Burrow Strike, the Telekinesis, and S-Max. Just way too far out as Rocket F20 is dead for 70 seconds, no buyback. So without the Nyx, without the Spike Carapace, it's going to be a hard high ground defense from East Chapel Hill. They really need everything to work out for them, but they could be seeing an epicenter come their way once again, and that's going to be a lot of trouble.
I guess Radiant fortified their structures.
So they'll hit away at this melee Rax. Just about dead. Gigan comes forward with an E-Blade shotgun hit. Not doing anything, though. Rubik will just back off. Melee Rax goes down, and Kid Papu continues to work on the range Rax. There's really nothing that they can do except watch. Adaptive Strike hits on Kid Papu, but only for a split second. Maybe they'll get one for their trouble. Start to hit away. A big boy coming in is S-Max, Manta Style from Fisher Swamp. He's going to get hit by that epicenter as well as the Burrow Strike and the Telekinesis. And that will be his demise. He is dead for 70 seconds. They've bought back on the Disruptor waveform to the high ground, but blinking right next to him is S-Max. He'll get glimpsed back to the low ground. And now they're without the Juggernaut. Gigan bashed up. He's going to Manta, trying to find himself some safety. Burrow Strike from Cafe, not doing anything. And they do spot out the Nyx. Telekinesis is used. There's the stun. They'll lose the Rubik. He's the only one to fall thus far. Cafe, his Aegis will be popped. Never mind, they've brought down Big Boy. I retract that statement of Rubik only being the only one falling. There's the glimpse back. They're going to bring him all the way back into the kinetic field. Adaptive Strike from Gigan. And he will find another kill. 3 die on the side of the Tigers.
Radiant's bottom tower is no more.
Meanwhile, they lose their tier 3, and that's really becoming a lot of trouble. So Diffusal for the Ursa, MKB for this Sniper. And he is very farmed at 6,000 net worth, higher than the Morphling at a total of 26K. I really didn't think the Sniper would be this much trouble for the side of East Chapel Hill. But it has become so. There's just too much protection from the side of the Tigers to get into the face of Sniper. Got the Burrow Strike, Telekinesis, Fire Blast. You try to get into the face of the Sniper, he really needs to be your first target. There's a 5-man smoke coming in from East Chapel Hill. Kind of a last-ditch effort to do something. If they get wiped here, the game's probably over. Pipe comes out for Big Boy. Now they're coming over, and this Sniper kill could be very good if they find it. They have a scan. They know he's nearby, but they have dust. That's what they need. They have dust. They should be okay. Smoke breaks, though. There is the Shadow Blade. Kid Papu, he's going up top. You got a dust. There's the kinetic field, and now he's out of the Shadow Blade. Rocket F20 does spot him. They're trying to come around on him. There's the Mana Burn. Static Storm. BKB used by Kid Papu. He's going to get hit with that Abyssal Blade, and they will find their target, 1,000 gold going the way of the Juggernaut. Now they're trying to turn this around, trying to find a glimpse, and in range is S-Max, but they're not going to pull him back. Not too certain they would get that kill. That is a lot of gold changing hands and a BKB used by this sniper. So, pretty solid benefit as that's now 6 seconds. So Gigan holding on to 4,000 gold. I'll be looking for his next item as well as has Jug, Fisher Swamp. He's holding on to 3,000 gold. So holding on to buyback, holding on to the extra gold they need. And let's take a look at that buyback status. Morphling and Jug do have it. They're the only two, and Sniper and Sand King on the side of the Tigers. So wow. S-Max comes in. I was not expecting it. I just give a wow as Disruptor gets taken down immediately by S-Max. I was looking at buyback, and all I could say is wow. Wow. So they steal Decay, they bring down Fuzzy Bunny, and the push will stop from the side of East Chapel Hill. So, continue to farm. Boots Travel picked up on the Sniper. Maybe finish off a Silver Edge after that. Blink's picked up by Jug.
Dire snow fortified their structures.
Very interesting. Trying to find himself some good positioning, but see how much that really does for him. Still no Abyssal Blade finished by this Ursa. I need water. Very badly. So, they're sitting back, waiting to defend the high ground once again. Meanwhile, Gigan is up top. He's looking to push forward on this tier 3. Coming around the bend is Sniper. Not too sure Gigan spotted that out, and mid they'll stop pushing. So Roche up in about 2 minutes. Looks as though the Tigers are gonna wait for it. And they're, you know, maybe East Chapel Hill, they try to counter it, but they gotta get the timing right. Otherwise they could be in a lot of trouble. Courier to scout this Roche could be in a bit of trouble. No! Oh, Panda, please! Whew. Survives. The life of an endangered species is okay. Luckily. So 40 seconds, both kind of hovering around the Roche pin now, spotting out that Courier. They definitely know they're nearby. So we'll have to see. It could be a quick Roche for the Tigers. They're sitting here. 30 seconds left. And now they're heading bottom. They might want to look to fight. Gigan's on the front lines. Uses that waveform. Coming in with the Burrow Strike. Hits on the Juggernaut. He's in a bit of trouble. There's the man to style, but it may not be enough. Fisher Swamp. He'll be the first to fall. That should secure Roche for the side of the Tigers, but waveform forward. Gigan, he's trying to find a kill on I Like Platin. Will find him quite easily, but now S-Max is here, getting a couple of bashes out on Gigan. Now Gigan might be in a little bit of trouble. Here comes the Boost Travel coming out from the Sniper, but